What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome. Good morning. Welcome to, I can't believe it's Hump Day. It's Hump Day with Hansen. I'm Hansen. And for the next, I don't know, hour or so, we'll start looking, putting the microscope down here on week number 12. I got all kinds of content that we can pop out here. It's week 12, and I realize, I should have been talking trade guys here on this, so I can pop that out real quick. Our guy Tommy T-Bone on the other side. So we'll answer questions here at the end, but I'll go through real quick the very early look at the matchups here. It's still obviously early in the week, but it comes quickly. So before we get into that, I did want to share a quick story here because we're kind of just bopping around here on this little live stream every Wednesday, talking mostly about the upcoming matchups and things like that. But we were just talking, Thomas and I, off the air. He's a big Ravens fan, and he loves Anquan Boldin. Who doesn't? I see Anquan Boldin. The reason we're talking about him, I guess he's made it to the thanks a lot, Google. I'm trying to find this list, and it's like not doing well. But I guess they're down to what, semifinalists or something.
It is the semifinals for the modern era NFL players for the 2025, and the big stir on Twitter today was Eli Manning being on the list. So that has people fired up. Which for once it's not the kickers, so I guess we take that as a positive.
Yeah, I don't know what they do with Luke Kuechly, because he might be in. He was so good. So good. I know a few of these people personally, so that's always wild. Like, of course, my guy Torrey Holt, who I've been lobbying for a while.
Insane that he's not in.
Little Steve Smith as well. I've met and interviewed Fred Taylor. Awesome dude. Great interview, by the way. Adam Vinatieri is always near and dear to my heart because he hung on for a long, long time. And for a while, I could always look at him and say, well, there's a guy playing in the NFL that I could have went to high school with. Thank you, Adam. You extended that for about a decade for yours truly. I have a Ricky Waters story. I think I told this the last week when I started doing that television show in the 90s. And Ricky Waters took a shot at me while he was playing for the Eagles because it was the first year, I believe, of Comcast Sportsnet in Philadelphia. And he did a Monday Night Football kickoff show, and that's the show that I was doing. And we were on cable systems back when there were only like 30 channels. And he took a shot at me. He's like, don't watch those jackasses down the shore, or something like that. And Wilbert Montgomery was with him, and I did not hear this or see this, but I was told this by multiple people. Wilbur Montgomery was with him, and he was like, "Oh wait, I love the Guru. Don't say anything bad about the Guru or whatever." I was like, "What?" Anyway, Anquan Boldin. 1 year at DirecTV, we had this thing where we would just set up these couches, and obviously they had the Sunday ticket, so we would get former players to come in and just sit and talk ball with us for like an hour and a half. I'm trying to think. We had Plaxico Burress. We had Clinton Portis, my guy.
It's like Barstool before it was Barstool.
Yeah. It was just like me and Kay Adams and Brian Westbrook. It was basically me, Kay Adams, Brian Westbrook. We actually even had that year the little Michael Rappaport with us on the set. But we had a ton of great guests. But Anquan Boldin comes on. And we're talking. He obviously knows it's fantasy. I'm like, dude, I got to tell you a story. I said, I've been doing this for a long, long time. And back in 2003, your rookie year, I was in, I don't know, year 9 of doing this or whatever. And, I felt like I was one of the preeminent experts at this time. And I was all over everything. I was known as like the sleeper guy, whatever, like always uncovering these sleepers. Anquan Boldin was a second rounder out of Florida State, but he was coming off ACL surgery. So no one really knew. So I told the story. I'm like, I had DirecTV. This is before I worked for DirecTV in '03. By the way, I did predict to my entire family in 1998 that I would work on television talking fantasy for DirecTV, which I ended up doing 16 years later for a decade. But that's neither here nor there. I was like, dude, I was all over everybody. Nothing slipped through the cracks except week one. I was like, dude, 10 catches, 217, two tutties out of nowhere. I was like, dude, I had you ranked that week at like wide receiver 79. I'm like, you made me look like the biggest jackass on the planet. He started laughing his ass. There's something about that jackass word. He loved it. I was like, dude, I was like, bruh, you killed me. It almost ruined my season because I wasn't in on you at all. And you opened the career game one of the career. 10 catches, 217, two tutties. But that's it. That's the story. Anquan Boldin, awesome dude. Awesome dude.
And Super Bowl
question.
Champion. That should get him in. Yeah. He and Torrey Holt should be getting Super Bowl champs. So
yeah, my boy Torrey. I did mornings with Torrey once a week for like 3 years. Awesome dude as well. We got along really well. I get along with everybody I work with. But yeah. Torrey loved himself some Gurific. That is for sure. And the feeling was mutual, by the way. I once had in an expert league, I had literally the greatest receiving core ever assembled. It'll never be topped. And I won the league. It was a league called FanX. No one's heard of it. But you know, there were heavy hitters still around in that league, like the football guys. Bob Harris was in that league.
Mm-hmm.
But we drafted at this fantasy convention in 2000, and I had probably the greatest draft ever. My two quarterbacks who I got in rounds 8 and 12 combined for 77 touchdowns.
Wow.
Dante Culpepper and Jeff Garcia.
Oh my, Jeff Garcia, former CFL legend Jeff Garcia. Shout out.
He was a backup, and he had, I think, 36 tutties. Culpepper was my sleeper of the year. I had him ranked at QB3. He had 0 starts in his career. I ranked him. It was Manning, Kurt Warner, Culpepper, and he had 40 tutties. But I opened this draft. I think I took Ricky Waters, but I got Moss because people were down on him a little bit. They didn't know about Culpepper and T.O.
Wow.
And so I had hookups, and they both were awesome in 2000. You can look up the numbers.
Yep.
Then I get my third receiver, big game Torrey Holt, and I believe he led the NFL in receiving yards his rookie season. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. This team was unbelievable. I mean, my wideouts, let's see.
His sophomore season, 2000.
Right, he wasn't a rookie. That's right. He wasn't a rookie. That's right. I did love him coming out, but I knew he was an absolute stallion, and I took him, and it was like 4th round, and he led the NFL in receiving yards. And he only had 6 tutties, but let me see what Randy, real quick, not to go off in a rabbit hole, but I mean, this was
what people want.
All right, well, let's take a look at what Randy did that year. In 2000, Randy led the NFL with 15 touchdowns, 77.
So easy.
14 for 37. We're not even done. Let's take a look at T.O. because this is an expert league. And by the way, I did win it. T.O. that year,
insane.
He had 97 catches for 1451 and 13. So my top 3 receivers averaged over 1,500 yards.
Yeah,
with like 10 tutties. Like it was crazy. And I had Culpepper.
So would you argue that that's kind of the golden year of wide receivers? Like if you really sit down and think about it, right? Obviously Jerry was still playing, but you had Tim Brown, Chris Carter, Marvin Harrison.
I mean,
Boldin,
Hall of Famers,
Holt, Moss. Like if you really look down the list of wide receivers playing in that era, even guys like Derek Mason, who were obviously unbelievable. Keenan McCardell. I would argue Jimmy Smith, Rod Smith. I would argue that
awesome.
I would say that's probably the golden era of modern wide receivers, because even around that 2000 era is when you got guys like Steve Smith Senior, Reggie Wayne, etc. I would argue it's probably the golden era of wide receiver.
How many HO? And it's funny because like the game was still kind of evolving, being more advantageous to passing attacks. Yet, I mean, you're not wrong. Let's see. You had Marvin Harrison. There's one. You had T.O. There's two Hall of Famers. Carter. That's three. I mean, a lot of dudes who are close. Tony G. He's got to be in, right? I forgot. Yeah, he's in. That's four. Isaac Bruce now is in. That's five. Of course, I have an Isaac Bruce story. I don't know if you know that one. Falk. Of course, that's a running back. Let's see. Moss.
Still not the career leader of receptions at running back either. Marshall Falk. Or actually, is he?
Is he?
Give me
LT?
No. I don't know if you'll get this one, Guru.
Probably won't. I mean, I could if I got maybe 3 or 4 guesses and I had 20 minutes to think about it. Who is it?
Larry Centers is the all-time. Yeah, Larry Centers is the all-time receptions leader for running backs at 827, more than Steve Largent, Shannon Sharp, and Henry Ellard.
I have a Larry Centers story that I've told a million times that is really good. But anyway, we're up to like 7 or 8 Hall of Famers in this class. We'll include Shannon Sharp. There's my boy Shannon Sharp. Yeah. By the way, you mentioned Derek Mason. I kind of know Derek Mason. Good dude. I've done 20 radio interviews from Tennessee with Derek Mason. But
but 943 career receptions,
good,
no
man.
slouch.
No, he was absolutely good. There's no doubt about it. He was good. In 1995, in my hometown league, I was the hard luck guy. I would always have a good team, dominant, and like something bad would happen. I have terrible luck, actually. So in 95, I'm finally here, and it's final game of the season, final game of the fantasy season, week whatever. I think it may have been the finale because we played every week, and then we didn't do playoffs. It was like best record won the league, and if you were tied, you went by total points. So that's the scenario I was in. I had to protect a lead of whatever, and if my opponent's player scored a bunch of points that night, I was toast. I was going to fall to second place, basically. So I had to I was hanging on to precarious lead. It was so stressful because at the time I was like 26 years old. I had a kid. I was married with a kid, and we were broke, and I literally like really needed the money. And I tell my wife, I'm like, all right, well, it'll be a Merry Christmas if we can win this damn league. And it was like $1,500 cash. So all we have to all you have to worry about is this guy, Larry Centers. He's a fullback. That's, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not PPR. However, it was kind of like PPR because it was one of these old school scoring systems where it was actually Miller Lite beer. For those who are old, who remember, they put out their own scoring system, and they kind of introduced fantasy. That's how the bar I was at, it was like a college bar. They got into it because Miller Lite dropped off this pamphlet with this idea to do this rotisserie football, basically fantasy football, and they had all the scoring down. But in that scoring system, if a out of position touchdown was scored, in other words, a running back catches it, double points.
Oh no.
And also distance. So I'm like, all right, we're holding a precarious lead. We're only going up against this fullback. And this guy he literally it was the game of his career. They couldn't stop him. He caught 12 of 13 targets for 172 yards. They couldn't stop him. My wife went to bed. She's like, I can't take this anymore. This is absolute torture. I'm like, you're right. This is. There was a play toward the end of the game where he gets a crease on the right side, and he came a foot or two away from punching it in the end zone. He scores, I lose a grand or more. It was so close, but luckily everything prevailed and I barely won. But interestingly enough, I always note this: they use highlights from that game. Think about the teams now: Arizona and Dallas, 1995. They use highlights from that game, real highlights from that game, for the movie Jerry Maguire, which I always thought was cool.
Interesting. Okay. Look at that. We're learning a whole bunch of stuff here. Look, week 12 sucks with all the bye weeks. Why not get some Larry Centers information that ties in to one of the better football movies that exist? I mean, to me, I think that's a fair trade-off.
I mean, one thing I've learned: when you're around for literally 30 years and, you're out there and you're in the mix or whatever, you just, especially me doing a lot of media, like, you just meet people, you have I mean, I could do 3 hours of just these type of stories just along my travels. But I guess we should probably bypass everything we do here at the top and just answer the questions. I will say I am a little more I'm a little ahead of schedule today. How about that? I've already done QB rankings. How about that?
Damn, that's good, because I have not. This week sucks, but the people do depend on the guru for those guru vibes and the guru ranks. So we can definitely dive into some of these. We can start with Justin. Good morning, Love or Gino this week. And with PPR, with weather. I agree. With weather in Cleveland Thursday night, 90% rain and 25 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts expected. Is it crazy to sit Pickens for skinny Batman?
Oh, I don't think so.
Pickens is probably getting the Ward treatment, I would imagine.
We have him with on Emerson, actually.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. The Ward matchup, based on alignment numbers, I guess he plays left corner a ton, and that would be a little bit more Big Mike, I think.
Okay.
Or yeah, actually, it looks like you're correct based on the numbers. But we have it as Pickens on Emerson for. Oh, okay. No. Yeah. George lines up there. I'm trying to flip it because it's like looking into a mirror sometimes when you're pairing, you know what I mean? These corners with the wideouts. Okay, yeah, no, that's correct. Based on alignment numbers, he would see a lot of Emerson. But yeah, I didn't even know about the damn weather. It's a little early for that to be worried about it. But let's take a look at that crap, because that's all we need. See, this is what I'm saying. This is my problem. It's so hard. We have such a small margin for error now with teams just literally not throwing for many yards. You know what I mean? It's killing the margin for error.
Well, look at the Ravens and Steelers last week against one of the worst defenses in the league. Russ, I don't think, broke 180 versus one of the worst pass defenses in the league, now that the Baltimore changed their defensive alignment. And now you get weather, and it's a Thursday night game, and it's an AFC North game. I don't know. I think Pickens is out of my lineups.
Let's see here. The hourly forecast. Well, it's going to be rainy today, all day. And then tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, tomorrow. We got a little snow action here. But it's going to be above freezing. But I guess, I don't know, wind chill, pumping it up there. I see right now kickoff shows snow showers, even though it shows 39 degrees. Somebody explained to me how that happens. And winds 19, 20 miles an hour. I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I did stop really overreacting to weather about 7 years ago, and it's worked out. I swear to God, there were multiple times doing this where I overreacted to weather, and it was wrong. So I'm not that I'm ignoring it, but you got to worry. It's tough, man. It's really hard. It's really hard. But I will say, in my opinion, that you're better off not overreacting to weather than
Okay.
overreacting to it. Obviously there's a certain threshold where okay, we're all screwed. Like 30-mile-an-hour winds, driving winds, like a downpour. Okay, obviously, but I mean, come on. We all played sports, and most of us, I would think, growing up, especially not organized sports. What the
Right.
hell? You know what I mean? Like you catch me in 1981 with nothing to do and a bunch of dudes with a football. I'm like, oh, let's play. Oh no, it's raining. No, of course we played.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyways,
agreed. For me, it's not the weather. For me, it is an AFC North game, and
yeah.
you add that to it being a Thursday game, which are unless the Ravens are playing on Thursday night, Thursday games kind of suck.
Yeah.
So I think almost every Thursday night game this year has been terrible. Sans 3 of them. This one does not scream shootout to me at all. So.
Yeah.
To me,
I'll
that's
tell you what,
I'm
man.
more worried about.
Najee looked pretty freaking good last week, man.
Guru, do you remember? It was earlier in the year where I called the Ravens a fake good run defense.
Yeah.
Najee proved it. It's because nobody has to run on them. Najee made Roquan Smith look average. Najee has been a buy for me. He's still a buy for me. If you're playing Dynasty, go and get this guy. Pay the second plus price for him because there's a stink on Najee. There always will be. Go buy him now. Someone is paying him. And I actually think he's staying in Pittsburgh. I think they'll actually work a deal out with him for once and keep him. He makes the team go. He's so good. Man. He looks so good.
You're preaching to the choir here. I've had the sack to give Najee love multiple years. He was on my target list this year. Last year when he was dead, I'm like, you know what? Screw that. Trade for that man, and he crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know what I love about him? I always say you could plop Najee into the NFL in 1988 and no one would notice. I mean, he's an old school dude here. And he is available, and that's part of the old schoolness of him. All these other dudes, nicked up. Nope, not Najee. I'm good. I'm playing.
He catches passes and is good in the open field, and people just need to start respecting him a little bit more. We talk about that on the Dynasty Points Market Report, which comes out Friday morning, and it is, he's a necessary pickup. Vincent has a question that makes me very sad, but it needs to be asked. Is Waddle droppable?
Yeah.
It's tough.
I mean, it's absurd. You would hope for a bench spot where you can just plop them down there. You know what I mean? So you don't, it just feels very final to drop them.
Because he answers this up. He says, "What would you drop him for? An RB2 or wide receiver 2 production?" The question, he says, I can't believe that's where we're at with him. I agree. The question is, where are you getting that off of the waiver wire in terms of your wide receiver 2 and RB2 production? He has 418 air yards on the year. He has not broken 10 points since week 1 in PPR.
It's ridiculous.
But the offense does look like it's churning. So it's interesting. And where do you say? I mean, 8.5 points. If you're getting that off the waiver wire, you're pretty happy, are you not?
I don't even know if we can count on him for 8.5 points. Though.
Well, that's what he's averaging.
Is he?
He's averaging 8.4 expected fantasy points per game.
Oh, expected.
He's turning that into 8 points per game. So, I mean, you're getting what, Vele for that off the waiver wire?
All fair points, but the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, that number is jacked up by that one tutty that he had.
Yeah,
you take that one tutty away, now he's got 5.7, 8.7, literally under 2,
Mm.
and then 8.5, and then 2.1. I mean, that's terrible. Uh, you can find anyone, almost anyone on the waiver wire better than that. You can. So
Yeah.
you have to. You have to. By the way, I just pulled up the trade article from October 1st on the site. Najee was the splashy featured player. This is unbelievable. How about this? This is through 4 weeks, I guess. Players to trade for Joe Burrow, who was currently the QB 12, I guess. Bijan, I wrote, he's only 14th in expected points per game, but I'm not worried about Algier, blah, blah, blah. Boom. Najee, he looked dead at this time. Absolutely dead. But I wrote here, I know our Scott Barrett disagrees with me on this, but good luck picking sides because it's a 50-50 deal with us on disagreements in terms of who's right or wrong, but chalk that one up to Team Gorific. Zay Flowers, Trey McBride. Jeez, and I did have Evan Ingram on there. That's pretty damn good. Anyways, what else do we have?
So Vincent, I would say the answer would be no. Very hard to drop and get that kind of production. I'm still just hoping for the turnaround. Michael says, I value all of the advice last week. You told me to play Cousins instead of Knicks, but it was my decision. I went with it. I went with Knicks. I would have owned it if I was wrong. Bo Nix doing a lot of things nobody expected. For this week,
now I will say this. Hold on, real quick. Hold on. I apologize for that, but you know, I understand people want to get the answer right from me, but just keep in mind right now it's Wednesday morning at 10:39 Eastern, and we're answering questions about things that are going to occur over more than 3 full days from now.
Right.
You know, actually more than that. What was that? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4. Duh. Good math. Over 4 days from now. Now, I do believe that I buried Kirky in my own little rankings that I have on the site. So, you know, if you want my opinion, I'm happy to answer it here. But make sure you check out the rankings and the article. Yeah. Because I had Bo Nix at 15 and Cousins at 21.
By the end of it.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
He wants to know, though, for this week, are you going with Kyler or Nix?
I would go Kyler. I mean, I certainly feel pretty good about where he's at. Although, hey, I mean, Nix, he might be safer. I mean, I have Nix right now at 12 and Kyler at 7. I'm going to go Kyler there just because he's got a pretty good history here. Is this the second matchup?
First matchup was Seattle.
Oh, it's the first one. Okay. So what I'm looking at here would be his last game against them last year. It's a different scheme, but most of the same personnel. And he did very well. 8.7 YPA, 262 passing yards, completed 73% of his passes. They've been, and he ran 33 times, by the way, for 33 yards. Boy, that'd be something if he ran 33 times.
Oh my Lord.
I think we're overexposing him just a tad there.
A little bit. That'd be that little bit. Seattle's
I'm gonna go Kyler.
Okay, gonna go Kyler. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I mean, Knicks, the Raiders, their defense isn't awful.
No, when they're motivated, they play well. I mean, Kyler is rushing for 371 yards. He's on pace to have the most rushing yards since 2000 this year. That number was previously 423. He's at 371 right now at an 8 per clip. So he's taking care of the football. So love Bo Nix.
One thing about Bo,
I'm going Kyler.
Bo's going to be fun in this matchup. He already hit him for 23 fantasy points. But I just don't know how much he's going to have to throw.
Second game in division.
Yeah, I mean, they're 5.5 point road favorites Denver is. Their defense is nasty. I mean, what if they just completely shut down the Raiders? Like, Bo Nix is now Mr. Game Manager.
Mm-hmm. Let's have a look. It says, "Morning, John and Tommy T. You have created a new moniker for me, so I appreciate you for that one." As Tommy T has stuck. He says, "I just need one. Your cousin Marvin Harrison, Downs, or Hopkins, half point PPR."
Mm. Yeah, I was looking at Marvin. Yeah, I'd probably go Marvin there. Although Downs, man, like,
What a
what do we
matchup.
do with Downs? What do we do with Downs nowadays?
Detroit?
You know what I mean? Like,
I
you
no
like
thank
it?
you. No, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
no,
No thank
no,
you.
no. Yeah, they're tight. Doesn't look ideal schematically. Robertson.
I will say
Uh,
DeAndre Hopkins gets Carolina in a game that Kansas
yeah,
City is bouncing back off of a loss.
yeah,
I'm probably playing Hopkins. I called the uh Detroit versus Jacksonville kind of statement game from last week on this show.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I am gonna call the Kansas City versus Carolina statement game here. Mahomes throwing for 3. I imagine one of those goes to Hop. Just a get right game after the loss versus Buffalo. I think I'm going to play Hopkins.
Yeah, I'm going Marvin. When in doubt, I always go with young, fresh legs. And I'm not that worried about
Pitfall.
Seattle's D. Reek Woolen. By the way, he won't see a ton of Witherspoon, who I think is their best corner, who tends to play inside. And it does look good schematically for Kyler and Marvin. So that's enough for me to go Marvin.
Hey.
What else?
Love that. Mark M. Superflex League. Oh my goodness. Superflex League need 2 of these for this week. Jalen Warren, Elijah Moore, Tommy DeVito, and Roshan. Oh my Lord.
Yeah,
It is a gank
PPR.
week.
PPR.
Doesn't say going to assume.
I mean, I'm going Tommy DeVito. With a good matchup. I mean, Tampa's secondary stinks.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
He's got neighbors. He does have weapons. I would assume we'll get Darius Slayton back. I mean, Tampa's secondary in their last 4 games, this is unbelievable. I mean, the numbers that they're giving up, absolutely mind-numbing over the last 4 games. They're allowing a 75.6% completion rate, 9.2 yards an attempt, 300 passing yards a game on average, and 3.5 touchdowns. They're getting rocked. They're getting roasted. So Tommy D, Tommy C, Mr. Cutlets is in. Yeah, I'd probably go Warren. I mean, I kind of like Warren last week. You were on the live stream. How many times did I say Warren's going to get you 10 points on Sunday?
You were happy with him, that's for sure.
He got it. I mean, that's what he got. He got it. He got like 11. So I'll go Warren.
We love that. Bango Lancer, good morning. Need to win the next 2 weeks to make the playoffs.
Playoffs.
In a 10 team, he says, was offered Debo plus Otten for Chase Brown, 10 team non PPR. I have Gibbs, Achane, Aaron Jones, and Tracy at RB. He's a little weaker at wide receiver and tight end. And he says he has Amon-Ra and Puka as well. Do you pull this trigger or not?
Yeah.
It is non PPR.
Okay. I mean, this is close. But I assume you can, you could certainly roll with Gibbs and Achane. So Debo is obviously a little hit or miss. However, looking at the trade article, I just was talking about it from way back. The current one if you go to the site that I published yesterday, I've done a terrible job promoting this article this year. But I mean, I'm doing it every Tuesday as always. A little late on Tuesday, I get it up. I do have Debo as a trade for because
Interesting.
Number one, his value's down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone is about ready to anoint Juwan Jennings as literally God. And I understand that, but I'm not totally buying that. I think maybe we'll get a little bit of regression there, or if for no other reason, maybe he'll start getting a little bit more attention. So I'm not necessarily buying that, like, oh, Juwan Jennings has now made it so only 2 receivers can do well now. Of course, the week before last, it was like 4 of them. But when I look at Debo here, no, this is not the damn article. Hold on. Here it is. There it is. Actually, you know what? Where the hell is the week 12 article? What the hell is going on over here? There it is. I don't know why I couldn't find it. Here it is. Debo is like the cover boy. I like this.
Right.
I like this because you generally like Debo against zone heavy teams. And that's exactly what he's got coming down the pike, starting now. At Green Bay, at Buffalo, versus Chicago, versus the LA Rams, who he absolutely slays, and at Miami. Then you got Detroit, week 17. They don't play a lot of zone, but I think overall that is a very Debo-friendly slate of games. So I'll do it because Otten, you can't. And by the way, was Pitts in that mix there? Yeah, he's got Pitts. No, you can't do Pitts. Pitts is going to be the Pitts based on schedule. Here's who he has, and I have him as a sell. I know we're at the end of the line here, but I try my best for those still doing it, trading. Well, number one, they're off this week, so there's 0 points. Then he's got the Chargers. They only give up 8 points a game to tight ends. Then Minnesota, they give up 8 points a game. That's terrible the next 3 weeks. Then you got Vegas. They're a good matchup. And then you got the Giants. They don't give up crap to tight ends this year. So, yeah, I'm doing that deal.
Okay. Love that. Let's move back here. Junk Food John says PPR Noah Brown, Booty, Vele, or Elijah Moore. He also says also playing Tillman.
Oh, yeah. I don't like Booty. I'm not doing Booty. I saw something there with Booty. What the hell was it? Yeah. Let's see. Who did they play last week? The weeks are starting to run together a little bit for yours truly. Who the hell did they play last week again? New England. Oh yeah, the Rams. Yeah, exactly. You don't like Booty against zone heavy teams, which is this week's opponent. So we're gonna not go with Booty. Who the hell are they playing? Oh yeah, Miami. They are zone heavy. Brown. Ooh, Brown's not bad. Moore. Yeah, I'm gonna go Brown. I would have gone more, but we don't want to put too many damn eggs in that Browns basket because that basket it may be a little deteriorated at the bottom and everything may fall out. So let's go Brown. What can Brown do for you? Well, he might do all right because I do think we're going to get Trayvon Diggs often on McLaurin. So maybe Brown can step up here. And he also gets the best matchup against the backup corner, Carson. I don't even know how to pronounce his first name. I could do a Johnny Carson impersonation, a reference for the kids.
For
Kalen Carson. I'm Kalen Carson. What else do we have?
Andrew Scanlon says, "Morning Guru, I'm trying to finalize my team for the playoffs. The only uncertainty I have is with Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper. Do I package them together or ride with them And the hardest part in this is who can I get for them? I will say the last part of that question is very league dependent. It is very hard to blanket statement
Right.
who you
And what
could or could
position are we
not.
looking at? You want to
Yeah,
package
that's
him for one running back or one wide receiver?
exactly. So the thing let me say this. I will rephrase this question so it's a lot easier to answer on a program like this. Are you trusting Nick Chubb at all moving forward? And if you
No.
would you move him for any other running back you could presume could finish as an RB2? Is how I'll
Well, I will say I lost a prop on Chubb this week. I was feeling it, and it was extremely close to happening. Now, granted, we're only talking about 61 yards, but if you were watching the game or checking in, he started ripping them. So he was ripping off some big runs, man. 8, 12, 7, 10. But then those damn freaking Taysom Hill happened, and they jumped out to a big lead, and they just aborted. They also apparently limited his snaps because I didn't even think of it that they're playing on Thursday. So last week they limited his snaps because it was a short week, and I'm like, oh, all right, man. But this is week 3. We're back. And I believe he ramped up for a week. So I'm like, all right, you're a month in. You're still worried about that? Okay. So I didn't know that. But he did have success running it. It's really about the matchups. Like, let's take a look real quick. Do we have any hope for Nicholas Chubb? Well,
Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh, Kansas City is a brutal run out.
That's brutal. And then Cincinnati too is pretty good against the run.
Yeah,
that's like what they do the best. So no, we don't. Yeah, we'll do that. I mean, I would recommend maybe trying to be sneaky. Maybe get somebody on a bye this week. Probably not going to help you now. Definitely not going to help you now. But like a James Cook. Would you do something like that and mess with the Carolina backfield? Probably not.
Yeah, here's the thing. Anytime you're looking at moving off of a player that's underproducing, we talk about this a lot here. Fantasy players want to see the points. So you need to find a target that is somewhat underproducing.
Right.
Or on a bye week, like you said,
Right.
to get a deal like this done. Amari Cooper did have the 2 big catches, so that's like an upswing for him. People might believe that in that.
How about a J.K. Dobbins?
Warren.
That's not horrible.
A Jalen Warren, I would move Nick Chubb for. Maybe not Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper, but I think there are players. Go check out some bye weeks, see what you can rip and
I love your boy. I love your boy Tyrone Tracy.
Oh yeah,
rest of the way. I mean, with his matchups, they're freaking good.
Yeah,
he's got some really good ones here. Like it was a bunch of matchups where I think he can get the ball.
Pacheco. That's another one I would go hunting
That's
for.
another one. That's a good one. Yeah. Tyrone Tracy, Tampa, their run D is falling off. Dallas, hello. New Orleans, Baltimore, Atlanta, Indy. That is a damn good schedule.
Very good. Love that one. Ethan Batterman says, good morning. I need 1 RB and 1 flex and a half point, assuming Pacheco is back. He needs to know Pacheco, Hunt, Dowdle, or Elijah Moore.
I mean, I think you just go Pacheco. It's a tough call because, they may ease him in a little bit. But then again, he's freaking Pacheco. He's a Jersey guy. He's a tough guy. If he's back, I would imagine he'll be able to handle, at least half of his normal workload.
Yeah, agreed. All you need to do is have him in for 1. So who are we sticking in at the flex then if we're going Pacheco? We got Dowdle, Elijah Moore, and Hunt. And a half point.
A half point. How about you just go with the 2 Chief backs?
That's where I was leaning. I could see a world where they do both score. Don't hate that at all. Dan Casey said standard scoring. Here we go again. Drop Waddle to pick up Christian Watson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's time. Enough of this Dontavian Wicks. The guy he's butterfingers. Maybe one of the reasons why they're lacking a little continuity is their a little too freaking week to week. I'm a big staple guy. Like, what's the staple of the Packers offense right now? I mean, it's been Josh Jacobs, really, is kind of the
Yeah.
staple. But do we have a staple in the passing game? It was looking like Jaden Reed, but that's kind of dried up. It's not Tucker Kraft, Mr. Goose Egg. It's like I finally waved the white flag this week. Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I don't for not trusting Tucker Kraft. And then I went in on a prop because he had a great schematic matchup, and he friggin' goose egged me. So I don't have no idea where we are with that guy. But Watson, I feel good about, man. I mean, he commands the ball there. Like, enough of these other dudes. Like, no offense to Bo Melton. I love Bo Melton, but like, they've got to get Watson 5 to 6 targets every single week, no matter what. Otherwise, what the hell are we doing? Like, the guy's a unicorn. He could make a big play at the drop of a hat. And he's playing pretty well this year, by the way. It's just that the injuries have really disrupted it. So, yeah, I like Watson.
Yeah, 100%. Ethan back against his full point Hunt, JSN, or Brooks.
Yeah, bad spot for JSN. I'm not liking that one here. That would be Garrett Williams, the nickel corner. I mean, he's not going to see him exclusively, but he has given up 0.13 fantasy points per route run. It's also not a positive schematic matchup. It's about neutral, but it's slightly negative. We'll see about Noah Fant, but I like DK in this game, by the way. So, I mean, JSN's coming on, though, for sure.
Well, the thing with JSN's usage last week, his first read target, his ADOT was down to 7.3, which would have been lower than his average between weeks 1 and 7, and 8, 9. Obviously, with Metcalf was out, it was 16.9 on the ADOT. His second half, he was hyper targeted. A lot of that because of the 2-minute drill, and they're coming back in a plus matchup with San Francisco, kind of a zone matchup. His ADOT in the second half of that game was only 5.8. So his role didn't change, but the volume did. So he could be a PPR spam, but the upside, I don't think is quite there.
Yeah, that's fair. And Tyler Lockett, though, is really I mean, no Fant lately has helped. And Lockett, more often than not, I've liked him a couple of times. He's actually come through in the prop world, but more often than not, he's underwhelming. So it feels like we're getting a little bit of a changing of the guard there with JSN kind of moving up into the clear 2. Really, he's kind of been like the 1A for the last month. Is that fair?
Yep, absolutely. We just need to see a little bit of change in the ADOT and usage. Not as many screens. He only had 1 screen this week, but he had 5 of his 11 targets came in the 2-minute in the first and second half. So he was kind of their hurry up, almost PPR like scat back type receiver. So that's still going to be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I feel pretty good about him in general. Like, I know we're in a rabbit hole, but I mean, to me, he's not maybe this week, but in general,
I agree.
He's an ascending player.
Yes, he is definitely a buy across every league, in my opinion. Not playing Brooks though. I don't think we can play Brooks. I don't think that's no. We got to stay away from Brooks.
Yeah.
Emilio, need 2 wide receivers out of this group and 1 flex. Debo, JMO, Watson, Najee, and at tight end he has Otten or Henry. I'm just playing Kate Otten every week. But who do you got here? 1 flex. He needs 2 wide receivers out of this group and 1 flex. Debo.
Emilio wants to know what is the dealio.
Correct. Who are we sitting here is really who it comes down to.
I do like Henry again. I liked him last week quite a bit. But, you're right about Otten. Like, how the hell do we sit Otten? Although he did do me rotten last week, actually.
He did.
And it is a bad matchup, I will say. That would be ballsy, though. Like, are you I'm going Otten still. It's a nasty matchup, but how much of that is a function? I mean, are they that good? Because I haven't really looked at it. I've looked into it. Like, I've seen it all year that they have not
Mm.
given up any production, but I haven't really gone deep under the hood. There's like, who have they played? Let's take a look. Minnesota without Hawkinson, DC with a 46-year-old Zach Ertz, Cleveland. I guess Njoku played that game. Dallas, Seattle, Cincy. See, these are not
They were
Philly.
they were shredded by Baltimore, were shredded by Kelsey. Um, definitely had some games versus tight ends.
You talking about you talking about the
Oh,
Giants?
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm looking
Yeah,
at the other way.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they have not really. They have not really. Yeah, I mean, I remember I didn't like Ertz in Week 9. I've been like the Ertz whisperer, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like him. I only had like one catch for 5, uh, just because of the matchup. But yeah, they also haven't played. Yeah, I'm gonna still stick with Auden. I'm gonna feel like a real jackass if I try to be a great coach or over coach
Hmm.
and sit a stud on the chance that it's one of the 4 to 5 weeks that Henry pops, which he did last week a little bit. But also, by the way, you also had freaking Austin Hooper making a play or two, Kendrick Bourne to be alive, Booty. All of a sudden, we got a lot of mouths to feed here.
Hmm.
Douglas, freaking Polk. So yeah,
Well,
we'll go Otten, Debo, and Najee.
right. I think I have that the same way. Volume rules with tight ends, volume rules in fantasy. Since week 3, Otten only has 2 games where he has less than 7 targets. And that was in
Yeah.
week 5 and 6 back to back. 8, 9, 10, 10, 10, or 10, 10, 11, and 8. That is truly insane.
Mhm.
Shiraz wants to know morning guru, Richardson or Gino?
Ho. Well, probably gonna go Richardson. Yeah, I'm going Richardson. I don't totally trust Gino. I mean, I don't think he's playing particularly well all year. Arizona, it's one of those kind of could go either way type of matchups. Of course, seems like everybody is like that with Gino. He does have a pretty good history here. I don't think they played last year. He did throw 4 tutties against them last year. Not for a lot of yards, though. He didn't throw it that much. The Cardinals have only given up 1 passing touchdown in their last 4 games, and they're only giving up 6.2 YPA. So I'm going Richardson there, and he'll keep running. And we don't need that much. If we can
Mm-hmm.
get 40 yards, we don't need that much. And, they do play man. I bet you the Lions give up over, I'm going to say over 23 yards a game rushing, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a bigger number. Over 23, I'm going to go with. Ooh, I could be wrong here. Ooh, dead wrong. Oops, that's the first time that's happened. They're actually only giving up 3 carries a game for 11, but that also, I'm only going back 4 games. Let's take a look at who they've played as well. Are quarterbacks running on them at all? They have played, well, Jacksonville last week, so that'll skew the numbers. Here you go, Houston. Pretty sure Stroud ran all over them. Oh, let's take a look. Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he was like every other week. No, he did not. Damn. That was the 1 week he didn't run recently. And then we had Green Bay. Forget it, because Love's not running. This is 3 weeks ago. Tennessee. I mean, they haven't really given up any run. They haven't really given up. They haven't faced any running quarterbacks. Let's see what they did in week 3 against Kyler, because that's got to be the best litmus. I bet you Kyler did something here. He had to have, right? Let's take a look. 5 for 45. Okay, there you go. I mean, that's the best example. Detroit's faced one hyper running quarterback, and He got 45 yards. So that's all we're looking for AR. Just give me 40, throw for $195 with a tutty. Hopefully don't throw a pick, and that's not bad. And you could always hope for a rushing. Now we're good. Now we're really good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like now we're good. So
yeah, if you're worried about turnovers from Richardson, you should be worried about turnovers from Geno, as he's already thrown 11 interceptions this year. So he's definitely playing yeet ball, but they'll both do that. Dan wants to know, I picked up Richardson. Would you start him over Love this week?
No, I like Love. Love looked healthy, really healthy to me. He was running this week. I did say that, I think last week before, like he is a quick healer, and he has lived on the trade article this year. He's never almost been off of it, like, because he's been a good buy low for the whole year almost.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Niners aren't giving up much, but didn't Love get them in the playoffs and do okay in that game?
Yeah, and they just gave up obviously quite a bit to Geno, right? Just last week.
Right.
So they're definitely banged up, and Bosa is not right. Geno actually
right.
Geno scored 2 touchdowns after Bosa came out of the game. So obviously that changed the dynamic. So if he is not healthy, it changes everything.
Everything. They're going to get Charvarius Ward back. I mean, I don't even think it matters. Without Bosa, they're just there. They're just there. They're okay.
Yeah.
Without Bosa, they're okay. And obviously, our guy Brett Whitefield has pointed out over and over and over again, if you can protect against the Niners, you can throw on the Niners. And if they do not have Joey Bosa, they will in fact be able to protect for sure. And so Love, it'll probably be a game where he might not get a ton of yards, but he might account for 3 tutties.
Right. Alex the Meh says, is Deontay Johnson droppable? 1,000. He was droppable the minute he got traded.
It's over.
The fantasy community loves Deontay Johnson more than the NFL does. And the NFL has now told us that everywhere he's gone, he gets traded for virtually nothing. Everywhere he gets moved, and now he can't really even get on the field, which is what I said when he got traded there. He's not even playing the Nelson Aguilar role. He's just kind of there as depth. So yes, he's droppable in fantasy, is the worst possible landing spot that you probably could have gone with. Big Taz, I think we've kind of set the tone for this, but good morning, AR or Russ tonight. I believe he means tomorrow. And he says, I can pick up Jameis. This is AR, no?
Yeah. I mean, I do have Russ somewhat high, but that bad weather doesn't help any much confidence. You got Indy in a dome here. It is at home at least. So maybe Detroit will come in, not as intensely and, lose a little bit of their edge after the last week's ass kicking. Man, the Jags stink. This Trent Baalke guy, I might be talking out of what, but you just see the guy. Like, you just size him up. I'm like, yeah, I don't trust that guy at all. You see him up at the podium, and you just, like, I kind of observe. I'm like, yeah, this guy looks like he runs a paint store. He doesn't look like he looks like no offense to people who run paint stores. He doesn't look like an NFL general manager. He doesn't pass my eyeball test or a sniff test. And oh, by the way, and I said this 5 years ago, whatever, and they stink. So everything is proven correct on that thought. And Doug Peterson, no offense, Dougie. I feel like I can rip Doug because we're actually the same age, if you can believe that. He's like 5 months older than me. I guess we would have gone to high school together. We would have graduated the same year. So I've said for 7 years that he's mid. He's mid.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Super Bowl run bottom some grace for sure. So
well, I always thought it was funny, real quick, with Peterson when you show that clip. It's like, oh, it's only the biggest game of the year. It's one of the 5 biggest games, arguably, in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. You're only trying to slay Goliath with Nick Foles and the Philly special play. It's like, what do we do? And I think it was, what is it, Clay Harbor or whatever. He's like, or maybe it was Foles.
It was
He's
Foles
like,
that asked
what about
him
the
if he
Philly
wanted to
special? Oh,
run
that's
it.
right. He's like, oh, let's go Philly specials. Let's do that. And it worked. But I was like, that did not sit well with me. It's like, okay, yeah, let's do that.
It
And
felt
it
like
worked.
he just kind of went with it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
100%. Shiraz says, good morning. That's so funny. Morning Guru, RB Conundrum. Bye week, fill in for 12 and 14. Who would you pick between these three? Roshan, Estimate, Benson. And he says, this is gross. I know.
I was going to say, can we go with Gross? That's a real name. I went to school.
I have a pretty easy answer to
Yeah.
this. I'm interested to hear what you have here.
I'm going to go with Dave Gross, one of my childhood friends. No. Benson's in. I like Benson.
That is my answer. That was 100% my answer. He has
Benson's
the most upside of this group. Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking good, man. I got him in a number of places. I'm pretty excited. Long term, I have him in a dynasty. I traded away McCaffrey. Oh, by the way, I think McCaffrey might be toast.
Yeah.
FYI.
It's not great.
I think he might be toast. I think he might have to be a grinder going forward. Like the explosiveness, I don't think it's there.
If anything, it might be back next year when he has a year to recover, maybe.
I doubt it might be back, but he'll lose it again next year.
We've been hammering this on Dynasty Points, both the market report and the Tuesday night flagship. I've been moving him for 27 firsts on teams that look like they are old and busted because I'm willing to bet against the other managers in my league. I don't think in a year or two you're going to be mad that you got that person's first for Christian McCaffrey. I think in 2 years when Arch Manning is your 101, I think you're going to be pretty happy. So I'm with you. Big sell here.
Big sell.
I
traded him 2 months ago or more for, I mean, it's a little bit of a lateral move, and the receiver got hurt and put on IR for Kamara and Steph Diggs.
Great deal.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean,
great deal.
Yeah.
One ACL tear away from that, but I think Kamara outscoring McCaffrey down the stretch could happen.
I think Kamara is going to outscore McCaffrey from this point on to the end of their careers at this point.
Okay. I love that. Andrew Scanlon says with the 499, trying to fill flex in a full PPR, which is better for trading? Chubb plus Cooper for Debo or same for James Cook and Watson? This is an easy answer for me.
Chubb plus Cooper for Debo. Like, what's your situation at running back? You know, if you don't do the James Cook deal, is my question. Number one, can you afford? I mean, I kind of like Chubb and Cooper for Debo, but I don't know what that leaves you with at running back, and I don't know what you have already at wide receiver. But sounds like you like the other side of it, Thomas.
I do. I like the James Cook side for this. I think on a week-to-week basis, somebody like Christian Watson or James Cook can score the same as Debo on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, that's fair.
Their wins above replacement is going to be fairly similar. So to me, I'm taking that. If you're talking about filling out a roster with options, now you have both depth and you have some week winning upside if Watson does stay healthy. So I prefer that side.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. If you have the bigger deficiency at running back than wide receiver, then I would do that deal for Cook, because Cook that's an upgrade for sure. Debo is a nice addition, but maybe you don't need help at wide receiver as much as you need a running back. So I'm okay with that.
Perfect. Quadruple Four Stevens says Jaden or Kyler in a 6-point touchdown league.
I'm feeling Jaden here. I like Daniels.
Okay.
I mean, how do you not like him against Dallas? At home, I mean, this looks pretty damn good to me. And Dallas is getting run on. So we might get 40 yards rushing from Jaden Daniels. Cowboys giving up almost 7 carries a game for 35 yards in their last 4 to quarterbacks. I know Jalen Hurts. Did they get a lot? Give up? Yeah. Stroud last Monday. Yeah, I like Daniels.
Yeah, we just need Daniels to be healthy. A healthy Daniels makes such a difference. So hopefully we do get that. Kyle S. wants to know, morning, John, do you like Christian Watson or Quentin Johnston over Marvin Harrison Jr. this week?
I mean, it's very difficult to state definitively that you like these little boomer bust guys. Watson should see a lot of Charvarius Ward, which is, I think he'll come back this week. Not that he's impervious for giving up big plays, but it's not the greatest. Whereas Johnson, I mean, I am pretty impressed with Johnston. You are the Raven person. It looks like he'll see a lot of Brandon Stevens.
Johnston's going for 35 this week.
Okay. Why?
So last week, Russell Wilson threw 179 yards passing, I believe. Brandon Stevens gave up 6 catches for 73 of those yards, if not more. I might be underselling how many. No other Ravens cornerback gave up more than 2 receptions, I believe, and no other Ravens cornerback gave up more than 20 yards, I believe. He is one of the worst he's one of the worst corners in the league.
But so you only think Johnson gets 35 yards, though, you said?
No. He's going for 35 points.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, there you go.
We're talking about the king of broken coverages and Quentin Johnston. He leads the league. If you go into the Fantasy Points data suite, Quentin Johnston leads the league in broken coverage scores. I'm sorry. Stevens is giving up at least 1 to Quentin Johnston versus Justin Herbert this week.
Agreed.
More than Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know. I don't know about that, but I'm just saying if he gets Stevens, like you just said, QJ is gonna toast him. He is one of the worst cornerbacks in the NFL, and teams in the NFL know it. Stevens is terrible.
I still like Marlon Humphrey. I still think Marlon Humphrey's good.
Well, he's having an all-pro season.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I've always liked Marlon Humphrey. I've liked his dad, Bobby Humphrey.
Yeah,
I drafted his father.
53% completion rate against.
He's good. He's always been
interceptions, good. Multiple turnovers. He's playing really well right now. But he's in the slot, which is where he belongs. Right.
Yeah, and it looks like Nate Wiggins is coming on too.
Yes, he's been very good. Their weakest link is Stevens. But maybe they play Tre'Davious White a little bit more after his good game last week. Terrible.
I'll still take Johnston, though. I mean, in that spot. That's a good spot.
Important to note that Kyle Hamilton lined up as the deep safety 40 times. His previous high was 14. So changing of the guard at safety over there in Baltimore. Mark wants to know, value of trading for Chase Brown. Who would you give up? Cup, Devontae, Mooney, or Puka? Get ready to give up your house. How do you look at this one, Guru?
Well, Mooney, I don't know what his deal is with that hamstring. Right? It was a hamstring, right?
There was an Achilles scare for Mooney as well.
Oh man. Chase Brown is like the league winner guy right now.
Yeah,
it would have to be Puka. It would have to be Puka.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm doing that. I try to move Devontae and Mooney. Like, if you're listing them as options, see if you can get away with it. Maybe they need some wide.
Oh, wait, you're trading for Chase Brown. My bad, dog.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay, in that regard, yeah, Devontae and Mooney would be good. But I wouldn't be opposed to getting Kupp in there.
Yeah, moving Kupp. Picking one of the wide receivers, and I would take Puka over Kupp as well. Chase Brown. That's why I said get ready to to sell your house because you might need it. You might need it to get Chase Brown off of people's
By the way, in the
roster.
fantasy points dynasty league, I got to call this up real quick because this is again, I'm cursed on leagues that are attached to like a website I own or a magazine. I can't win them. We had a magazine. I had a magazine, a print magazine for 7 years, and we did a big expert league, and I always had a good team, but I'm like, this is like a massive curse. But in the fantasy points dynasty, my team was literally dead last year. Like, and I forgot to set the lineup in week 1, which is terrible job. Obviously, I took a 0 in week 1 because I don't know. I mean, I guess starting lineups don't carry over from the year before in week 1, and I forgot to set the damn lineup. I'm trying to, let me see what my record was last year. It's interesting to me because it's like, wow, like I thought this was absolutely dead. Here it is, 2023 league home. My record was 4-11, and points for, I had the second fewest points in the league. I was 4-11. This year, after taking a 0 in week 1 because I forgot to set my lineup, I'm 8-3 somehow. It's like my entire team, Cooper Kupp, it's like everybody's coming together at the exact same time. Even Javonte Williams, Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp. I drafted Ladd McConkey over Michael Thomas or Brian Thomas, which is looking pretty good now. And I even got Josh down. It's like amazing to me. I can't believe it. Like all of a sudden this team was dead. I'm like, well, back to the drawing board. And now I'm like, I'm pretty good. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's truly wild that you can get away with that.
I mean, 4-11, I was dead, absolutely dead in the water. And all of a sudden, I had the worst receiving core in the league less than a year ago. And now I'm rolling with Cooper Kupp, Ladd McConkey, DJ Moore, Josh Downs. That's not bad for a 12-teamer.
No, not at all. Josh wants to know if it's Disley or Njoku this week. Keep in mind, Roquan Smith hamstring issue. No word yet if he's playing.
I'm going Disley, man. I love Disley here. I know Njoku's the man. He's getting a lot of targets here. Let me see what that matchup looks like real quick. But man, I just love what I saw from Disley last week. I mean, that was great. I mean, Herbert was throwing off some missiles out there, man. Yeah, they're not giving up much. I mean, Njoku's average, like, it'll be like a 5 for 50 game for him. That's what he's averaged in this matchup last week, which is pretty good. 10.2 points. But, I mean, I can't escape the upside of Will Disley here. Thomas, what do you think?
I'm going Disley. Got to go Disley. 100% here. Again, Thursday night game, matchup with Pittsburgh. Give me a bad defense and Will Disley, baby. He is the truth. All the whole time I said with Greg Rowan it was going to be Hayden Hurst. It turns out it was Big Montana, Will Disley, and somewhere out there Pete Carroll is both smiling and chewing gum loudly in honor of his guy Will Disley. I'm all about him. All about him. Joe
Pete
Gibson
is still answering a question I asked him about Christian Michael at the Combine 11 years ago. He's still answering the question. He did give me a 4-minute answer on Christian Michael back in the day, but I joke, I'm like, yeah, he's still answering the question. He can talk.
Yes, he can, and loves his guys. Like that is a staple of Pete Carroll. Loves his guys.
I once asked him about Amare Darbo. Remember Amare Darba?
That I do not.
Yeah. He was pretty good prospect out of Michigan, I believe. Yeah, and I thought he had a chance, and I asked him about that. He answered that question, and that took him 17 minutes as well. Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
Third round pick in the 2017 draft, Amara Darboh.
Yeah, can say he
Didn't make it.
Never made it on my dynasty rosters. I could tell you that.
No,
Uh,
no, no.
Joe Gibson says, "Hey guys, need 2 of 3 in a full PPR in America. Marvin Harrison Jr., Dobbins, or Skinny B. 2 of 3. Who are you sitting here?"
Yeah. Well, it is a revenge game for Dobbins.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the Ravens whisperer.
Guru, if the Ravens lose to Greg Roman this week, I may not be into work the following week. I might be off of a bridge somewhere. I don't know if I could take it.
All right. Well, then we're that's my lean to sit Dobbins.
That's the lean. All right. My tilt is the lean. I think that's fair.
I mean, Gus Edwards could vulture him. Hassan Haskins is vulturing.
I know. Can we stop with this Haskins thing too? Nobody needs him into the end zone. Can we? Enough. Harbaugh, just please. For me and my sanity, enough. Please. Every time I see
Haskins is a Michigan guy.
I know. He's just also terrible. And I don't want to see him on the field anymore. I have teams that are requiring 9 points from Gus Edwards. All right. Can we get 6 of those from the 1 yard line? I need it to feed my family. Please. We need our Timbits.
Hassan Haskins led college football in 2021 with 270 carries. He had 20 tutties.
I know.
I asked him about this. He had a 5-tutty game against Ohio State, right?
Yeah, I don't want to see him on the field. If we could just stop with that, please. I need my 9 points. Okay,
I hear you.
My family needs Timbits badly. Eddie H says Mahomes or Richardson this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mahomes there. I don't think he has a lot of upside against Carolina, but then again, Richardson probably has a little downside if things get ugly. I'll go Mahomes. It's close.
Right. Eddie H
Richardson more. If you need upside, I'd go Richardson. Probably.
Yeah. If you need a good 30, I don't think Mahomes is going for 30. I am in agreement with you there. Eddie also wants to know Downs or Evans if he plays. Evans is playing.
Evans. All day.
Do not sit Evans the rest of the year. He needs
all day.
I believe it's 663 yards to hit his 1,000. He needs to average 93, I think, a game.
Wow.
He will get that. He gets Carolina twice. He gets some great matchups. They're pushing. He wants the record. He does. We've seen them force him the ball to get it. I'm not sitting Evans. He's been
and that is the actual record, right? Like one's ever had 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
he already said it.
No, this would be, if I'm not mistaken, this would be the 1,010 official put him ahead of everyone else, if I'm not mistaken. Because is
that to open the career, or is that just consecutive?
He's never missed 1,000 yards in his career.
Oh, I know.
And this would also be, this would be consecutive as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, he's in year 10, and he's already logged 9 straight years with 1,000 plus. So he's way behind schedule here. He's only averaging 12.9 yards a catch. By the way, career is 15.2.
Yeah, he's got 10 straight right now. This year would be 11, and he's definite. And not to mention, he only needs 4 touchdowns for 10. So this would be another 1,000 yards and 10 touchdown season. He's gonna push for this. So let's never sit Mike Evans. Let's just go.
No, league record.
Yeah, exactly. Dylan says, "Hey Guru, RB matchups are tough this week." They certainly are. Swift, Chuba, or Pacheco if he plays. He only needs one of these guys. Dylan, you are rich at running back.
Well, it's not Chuba. I don't like Swift. I mean, he could rip off something here, but man, Minnesota's run D has been good. Look, I've been not right on Swift for a month and a half now, but yeah, yeah. I mean, he ran on him last year, but that was on a different team. Yeah, they're only giving up 3.7 yards a carry. Haven't given up a rushing touchdown last 4 weeks. Yeah, I'd want to use Pacheco.
Okay. Okay. I can vibe
Just
with
a
that.
better offense. I just don't know if they'll move the ball. I mean, Pacheco won't get as many touches, but he could score two tutties, whereas I don't think Swift is.
Yeah, agreed. Ben says, Morning Guru, would you start Judy or Waddle? Oof, oof.
We don't like Judy here because we're projecting shadow coverage from Joey Porter, but I mean, geez, can we really do Waddle here?
No. Similar
I
upside,
guess
I
not.
guess.
I think I can I get Elijah Moore?
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
drop Waddle for Elijah Moore?
I that's such a tough question. Probably. Probably. Yeah,
Wouldn't
he's
feel
getting
good.
12, 9, and 8 targets.
He's getting
Upside's not really
8.8 targets
there.
a game. Yeah.
Yeah, the upside's not really there, but the volume is. I think I would. I think I would.
Yeah.
Man, that feels so disgusting.
If possible, maybe I'd let go of Waddle for more. I know that sounds gross. It does, but
It does
I
sound
mean, this is what
disgusting.
The only thing that's more disgusting is Waddle's actual production. That's nasty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go rapid
Yep.
fire.
Let's go rapid fire. 199 from Scanlon. Bucky or Jacobs?
I do think Bucky is a good buy low guy based on their matchups, but let's see here. Bucky against the Giants. Jacobs. Yeah, I'll go Jacobs. I trust Jacobs a little bit more. His role, getting some checkdowns lately as well.
Agreed.
I bet she's getting 3 catches a game, or 2.8, close, in their last 4.
Yep. Going with volume on that one. Bucky obviously been good, has a great schedule, but anyone can go off in that Bucks offense down the stretch. So hard to trust. We go with the volume. There we go. Red Dot says Gino or Tua.
Tua. By the way, running backs are, man, I looked at my guy, Rashad, and I'm like, oh, look, he's hanging in there. He's like RB29 with like 14.1 points a game. And I'm like, wait a second. What the hell was 14.1 points a game good for at this time last year? And the answer is like RB13.
Mm-hmm.
Yet this year, he's RB29. So that's where all this damn production is going, to these running backs.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jamie Parag says, would you rather have Kamara or Aaron Jones in Dynasty? And what would you be willing to give up in a 10 team?
I mean, I think I'd rather have Kamara.
Has to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Jones, they're very close in age. And Aaron Jones, and I've been saying this for 6 years, you can't give him, you can't feed him the ball. He can't hold up, and Kamara can. So
yeah, and one's got a contract and one doesn't.
Right.
Kamara's got his money; he's going to be there. And he says, "What would you give up? 2 seconds." We have a Dynasty trade tier chart available for subscribers in the Discord. So if you are a Fantasy Point subscriber, you can get in there with a free account. The Dynasty content is not paywalled, so all you need is a free account right now. You can head in there. You have a full trade tier chart, which gives you exactly what we would trade for who for each player in different tiers. Help make those decisions a lot easier. Armando Rodriguez, which, by the way, I am updating that tier chart this week, so be on the lookout. Armando Rodriguez says PPR flex Tillman, Gus Edwards in a revenge game, or Trey Benson can also pick up. I believe that's probably going to be Trey Palmer, McMillan, or Westbrook Akine. Said he's already starting in Njoku.
Yeah. I mean, this is, kind of low end, but, pretty good matchup for Seattle against Seattle for Benson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very intrigued by them. They're giving up a lot. I mean, they're giving up 4.7 yards a carry, 121 rushing yards a game. He's actually getting starting to get a target here and there. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Benson there. I mean, McMillan's tempting, but I mean, we just don't know where we're at. Like if McMillan practices all week, I might do that, but I don't know if he's going to practice all week. Otherwise, I'd go Benson. I feel like Benson might get you 7 points, 8 points.
All right.
McMillan, I don't even know if he gets you that.
I'll say in a PPR, I'm going Tillman just because Winston is the receiver maker, and he's the X. I think I'm just taking the upside shot, but
you know what?
Good luck
Hold on. I
Thursday.
forgot about Tillman.
It is again Thursday weather in Pittsburgh, but I mean it's Winston.
Yeah,
He only needs
know.
one.
I know. Yeah, I mean I'm okay with Tillman because we are projecting Joey Porter to shadow Judy, so I'm all right with it. I'm all right with that. He definitely has a little bit more potential than Benson for sure.
JP from the 510, he says with Burrow on bye, should I stream AR over CJ Stroud? The fantasy projections say yes, but my gut does not totally agree.
Well, I will say I haven't uploaded mine yet, but I'm working on them, and I do have Richardson ahead of Stroud.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Richardson. Yeah, I mean, not the greatest matchup there overall. Tennessee D is just, Stroud has just been a buzzkill, man.
Yeah, he really has been. Look, I called him on the and I took some heat. This is one of the earlier shows we ever did with Fantasy Points. I took some heat, but I said CJ Stroud would be your worst pick at ADP this year, and he has been.
Yeah.
These pocket passers need a lot to go right to maintain these ADPs. He's killed you at his ADP. Terrible bet. Like the guru says, just draft Jordan Love a little bit later.
Yep.
Quincy Davis says, would you drop Kraft for Isaiah Likely?
Well, Kraft Services was a no-show last week.
Yeah, in a good matchup.
I mean, I've struggled with this guy all year. And last week, like I said, I finally all right, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And he goose-egged everybody. No, I'm probably still going Kraft.
Yeah, the Ravens tight end debacle is forever annoying. I don't want any part of it right now. Quincy Davis says Disley or Jonnu.
Oh, Disley all day. Jonnu's all right, but Disley is nice.
Yeah, Jonnu's in my bad books for basically John Wicking Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. Yep.
Not happy about that.
Part of it. That's between Jonnu and HN. That's Waddle's been waddled. I don't know. There's a new term. It's like you got waddled.
Yeah, 100%. Jamie Coretta says Lamb, McLaurin, JMO need 2 PPR in America.
I don't think you start Jameson Williams over a high volume guy in McLaurin, even though he's got a tougher matchup. I mean, this does seem like a game where Jared Goff throws it 17 times.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jameson Williams matchup was an easy call last week. This one, I think he's just kind of back to what he has been.
Yeah, how many people did me and Tom Brawley tell to start Jameson on Sunday morning? It was a lot.
Yep, absolutely. He was just an easy smash pick there. Does get Indy, which is like that is a nice matchup again. But again, it volume 6 targets. He caught 4 of them. One of them being the big crosser over the middle. You're relying on a kind of a touchdown with Jameson Williams in every game that he's gone over. In every game he's gone over 8.5 PPR points, it's been via touchdown, except for versus Tampa Bay, where he had 11 targets and only 5 receptions. So you're hoping for a touchdown. So McLaurin's doesn't have that same matchup. I think I agree with you here.
Yeah.
We have got Brad from the 499. He says he needs to start 2, 1 wide receiver and a flex. D Hop versus Carolina, Ladd versus Baltimore, Tracy versus Tampa, DJ Moore versus Washington. Appreciate it. He says also favorite DST for the playoffs. That one might be a Brian Drake cue there, but he needs to start 2, a wide receiver and a flex. You are very rich, Brad. You are flexing your lineup right now.
Well, Tracy is in.
Tracy is in?
Yeah. Right.
So
it's
which
Tyrone
wide
Tracy,
receiver
right?
are you in? Yeah, of course he's in. You don't got to convince me on Tyrone.
Yeah. Well, let me get your counsel on Ladd, because I didn't love Ladd last week and he crushed. But, what do you think about him against
I'm playing him.
Marlon Humphrey? Yeah, I was thinking
playing
that
him
too. Yeah, we're not sitting Ladd.
So Baltimore's going to have to shoot this game out after a bad week. It's a Monday night game. Lamar does great on Monday nights. So, yeah, give me Ladd McConkey at home versus Baltimore. He can run away from Hump in
Plus he's a good
game.
lad. So
he's a very good lad. And again, for the DST question, do you have a favorite DST or
no?
Yeah, it's still week to week, I think, for sure. I think Detroit is probably going to be the number 1 target, I imagine, in terms of defenses. And the Chargers, they get they get Tampa, Denver, New England. Some turnovers can be had in those games, but Brian
defenses
Drake
are brutal.
They're tough.
Man.
Brian Drake does put out a great article every week for DSTs that you can find at FantasyPoints.com. I would be keeping an eye locked on that article. He's been very good with those all year. And he also needs to know Goff or Bo Nix this week. He says, I have Amon-Ra if that helps. So do you go with the stack or do you go with the pure upside of Bo Nix?
I think I'd go Bo Nix there. I don't love Amon-Ra, by the way, in this game. He will see a lot of Kenny Moore, who I always like. Not the end of the world, but I don't think he's going to get a ton of targets here. It's, by the way, not the greatest schematic matchup. So I'm going to go Bo Nix.
Agreed. Give me the runners, right? Like I am constantly looking for the runners. Tillman or Dobbs?
I mean, at that point, I'm Dobbs. I'm thinking Downs.
Oh,
ooh, Tillman or Dobbs? Yeah, that's a tough one. Let's see here who Dobbs has. Yeah, I think I'll go Dobbs there.
Interesting. I'm on Tillman.
Bad weather.
I'm still on Tillman. I'm going to write that one down. We're going to go Dobbs and Tillman. That one's getting written down.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good one to write down. That's a good one to write down. You'll probably win that one, but let me see.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm not as confident, but I've just got a feeling. Tillman, I'm all in. That kind of route participation, target share, deep X route with Winston, I'm going to take the chance, and I'm going to choose to believe that Tillman is real and not a figment of my imagination and desperation.
Dobbs had playoffs last year. What was that, divisional round? Yeah. Dobbs had 6 targets, 4 for 83. Not bad. Yeah, I'm going to go Dobbs. I'll stick it.
All right, let's go. I love it. Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts?
I mean, I do like Daniels a lot, but I still have Hurts at 1. I've got Hurts at 1 and Daniels at 2 this week.
Okay. I like that. Nate P says, what up, Guru and Tommy T? What's Chase Brown worth in Dynasty? Would you send the 2025 110 to 112 and win out? Absolutely, I would. Would you? Where are you looking at?
Yeah, so in other words, I'll trade away a low-end first-round rookie pick next year for Chase Brown this year.
Yeah. So
right?
this year's rookie class, this year's draft class for 2025. Are you moving? Yeah, you absolutely do this deal every time. I've seen it done in leagues that I'm in now. I've sent this offer away now. You're getting Christian McCaffrey at half the price. Right.
Wow.
So look at his production.
Okay.
So we're doing this. It's good chance to have a good role next year as well. So
I was very high on him.
Yeah, same.
Wasn't everybody high on him? Was it me? Like
no, a lot of Zach Moss, a lot of Zach Moss believers. On Dynasty Points, we actually converted Ryan Heath to Chase Brown in July. It took a little bit, but I kept on Ryan for quite a while, and he came around and picked up quite a bit of Chase Brown. Chase Brown was an early favorite for Dynasty Points, has been for 2 years. Got him in the 3rd round of rookie drafts in his rookie year, and I mean it pays off to be early. I
liked him. A really good dude, by the way, as I've mentioned. I watched him practice for a week. Moved very well. A little bigger than I thought when I met him, all jacked up. And I'm looking here at our top 200 cheat sheets that I do personally. His ADP was 118.4. I had him at 93. So that would be a win. That's a win. That's like win. We're telling you to draft this guy. Hey, and you know, I had right below him, by the way.
What's that?
Khalil Shakir. I had him ranked one spot right below him, and his ADP was 142, and I had him over 50 spots higher than his ADP on our cheat sheet. That's ridiculous. Jameson Williams was next, and I had him over the ADP. His ADP was 111. I had him at 95.
He's giving you some great weeks in that flex, so can't even be mad at that. Dad Hat says Drake recommended the Cardinals D moving forward. So there we go. Someone's looking out for us here in the chat. Shout out to Dad Hats.
Love Dad Hats. I'm wearing one right now.
Pablo, I got the toque, if you would, as we say here up north. We're rocking the toque today. Also, Pablo P says also in flex hell need to start some Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, Keenan Allen, Disley, Bateman. Probably need the most boom player. So out of here, who do you got as the most boom player on the list?
I'm going to go Disley.
Disley. Okay. Yeah. I can vibe with that. I would agree there.
By the way, to balance it out, I did a horrible job ranking Brock Bowers.
Yeah. I mean,
I had him like 23 spots below his ADP. I always thought Bowers was a freaking animal, but you can't get them all right when you're trying to count for everything, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You just can't get them all right.
Who would have thought that he was so landing spot proof he could succeed with a coach that hates running a lot of plays and a team that hates good quarterback play with AOC and Gardner Minshew, and he's still doing what he's doing. Truly,
and of course, incredible. Michael Mayer, who's not bad, has been out for months.
Yeah, and they just look like they just completely were good. Not they moved on from that pick real quick with Brock Bowers. Did. Pretty interesting. I was big sad about that. So we're going with Disley here. Let's see what we've got on the list. I'm just looking for some quick ones. K. Dotton
ADP 174. I had him at 151. I think that's a win. Tyler Conklin ADP 193. I had him at 116. That's an L.
Right. Yeah,
Anything else?
I mean, we will see. We have got
Malik Neighbors, ADP of 44. I had him at 61. Is that a win or an L?
I would call that a win. Neighbors did look good to start the year, obviously with the record pace, but since the concussion, it has been no bueno, which not his fault.
Brutal.
And obviously the team around him collapsing, and now he gets DeVito. I can't.
Hey,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But hey,
Najee
anytime
Harris,
we get another
ADP
Italian starting in the
74.
league, we're happy.
Najee Harris, 74. I had him at 64. That's a small win.
Small win. Those are the small wins are the ones that really, if you're ahead of ADP in the crunch time, that's what pulls you ahead more often than the big ones that are, 180 and you're ahead, to 80, 81. Those
Right.
don't help you as much as just being ahead of the middle pack rounds. I've always said that rounds 4 through 7, those are the ball knowers. If you're ahead in rounds 4 through 7, you're the ball knowers. Really hard to miss in the first couple rounds, in my opinion.
True.
Quincy Davis says start 2, May, Wilson, or Tua. And then I got one more we can cap this off with.
You know what? I'd probably go May and Tua with the weather being an issue. Pittsburgh, Arthur Smith, he's going to hand that ball off a lot.
Russ had 6 points versus the Baltimore Ravens pass defense. I'm good. I'm good there. I'll take May and Tua. They can both get you 9 points, but they can also both get you 25. So I'm good. Let's end on this one, Guru. We're at 1 hour and 41.
Yeah.
Armando Rodriguez wants to know Njoku or dynasty favorite Theo Johnson.
I'm going to go with not Theo Johnson. But no, I'll go Njoku all day long.
Yeah.
Njoku, ADP. I'll do this all year, and we'll see what kind of lessons we can learn. Okay, well, that's about right. I wasn't that into Njoku this year. ADP of 84, I had him at 87. So that I would call that agnostic. That's like a push. Oh, how about this one? Our guy, Chase Brown. Did we go over that already? Oh, never mind. We did. All right. Yeah, I think I'm. Oh, here's one I got wrong, actually, and it's ironic because not really wrong. I guess it's not that bad. I did love Ladd McConkey in general, but I did rank him at 99. His ADP was 89. So I was a little below there, but I did like him.
He still has been up and down a little bit. We were joking last night on Dynasty Points that he looks like a Pop Warner football player on the NFL field because his helmet looks like it is 3 sizes too big for his body. He almost looks like a bobblehead out there.
He does look. It's a little weird. It's not quite like Pac-Man Jones. No. Pac-Man Jones used to wear that big helmet. Remember that?
Yeah. Ladd McConkey looks like he is a junior in high school dominating NFL players on the field. It is comical, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
Love that. Guru, I think that's going to do it for 1 hour and 43 on this here hump day.
Yeah.
You can take us on out.
Are we over the hump now? I guess so. It's almost damn near noon Eastern, so we'll wrap it here. I'm John Hansen. Special thanks to our guy, Tommy T-Bone, and we'll catch you next time at FantasyPoints.com.
What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.